Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is number 76 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And I am highlighting our service hero, actually someone I grew up with, a dear friend, and someone she is very well aware of what it is to serve, because she comes from a family of people that are dedicated to philanthropic work. And I was lucky enough to be able to at sometimes even dwell with her in her home. Her name is Kuhn Rodden. There you go. There's a picture of her. We're having a little bit of technical issues, but I have her with me via voice. Kathy, can you hear me, and are you there?
Hi, Tamara. I'm here.
Okay. So, folks, meet my dear friend Kathy Kuhn Rodden. I want to celebrate Kathy today because she's been helping me with my nonprofit, as I wrote in the introduction, Chemo Buddies for Life, the name to be changed here soon. We're going to have a big unveiling of that. Her background is absolutely incredible. She was raised on philanthropic work. She is the second generation of people that were so dedicated in giving. And yes, she's an excellent proofreader. She most recently has moved back to Southern California from the Santa Cruz area, of which she was lucky enough to live up there and actually overlook the ocean for a long time, right? And there she served and actually worked with her church as the church in the office. But she has over, 40 years, Kathy?
Yes.
Over 40 years as being a volunteer in leadership, if not a local, a statewide level. Where she has been over. Well, I'm going to let her talk now. She is absolutely one of my dearest friends. I've always called her my big sister. And here you go. Everybody meet Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be with you today. I do most of my volunteer work with a premier organization for young women called Job's Daughters. And as Tamara said, I've done local work, I've done state work in this organization, helping to develop young girls into leaders. And I also do a lot of volunteer work with my church. Now that I've moved, I'm not up there with my home church, but I worked with in an official capacity, but also did a lot of work with the church. Job's Daughters brought me an involvement with many, many philanthropic organizations through the years. We have a state project every year that is different, but our main project is called HIKE, and that stands for Hearing Improved Kids Endowment. We do fundraising so that we can get hearing aids and different types of things for children to have a better life.
That's an incredible program, Kathy. Now, how many kids do you think you've been able to help through this?
Oh, I wish I knew that answer. I'm sure I've heard it at conventions, but hundreds for sure.
I'm thinking it can be up into the thousands. Is what
it could be.
Yeah. That's what
I know that just in San Francisco, the Bay Area, there were 4 awards given last year, just in my area up there.
Wow.
And that was incredible to help children and see them being helped.
That is, and that's something we take for granted, isn't it? That we take sometimes so many things for granted, but to not be able to hear, I mean, sure, there is a wonderful language dedicated to that, but to be able to, I was actually just recently, it's really interesting that you're bringing this up. I was watching babies that, well, it was actually for glasses, but I would think it's the same thing, where their eyes were slightly, they weren't able to really see, and then they put these glasses on the babies and their faces, and it's just like immediate, like a change, obvious that, wow, that's what that person looks like. Well, I would think it's the same thing for hearing, right?
Yes, when a child can first hear their mother's voice, that's an incredible thing.
That's just amazing. I want to shout out to also your parents, who, how much I loved and adored them. I considered them my parents too. I adopted them.
It was mutual.
Dana and Wilma Kuhn, they were guardians of our Bethel. I was a Job's daughter, and that's how I met Kathy, because Kathy's older than I am, just a little, and she took me under her wing for a number of reasons, of one of which, Kathy is an excellent pianist, and I was like, not so great. And but I wanted to be like Kathy when I grew up. And so she would pick me up, because she could drive. She'd pick me up, and then she would practice with me. And the patience that this woman has is incredible. And that's what started a lifelong friendship, right?
It is. It is. I love mentoring. I love teaching, and that's the great thing about Job's Daughters, that older girls can teach younger girls things, and then as a young adult, and it just continues. It's a cycle. And now I spend a lot of time mentoring other adults in Job's Daughters, so that they can be the
leaders and
feet on the ground.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. So now you have a third generation of volunteers and service oriented individuals, don't you? 2 daughters that have now followed, right?
Yeah. Yes, both of my daughters were members of Job's Daughters as tweens and teens, and are now working with chapters themselves. And one daughter was in a leadership camp program for 10 years, which was retreat weekends, basically.
Wow.
The other daughter is the head of the chapter in Salinas now, and they continue to give back.
So your parents started, you followed, now your daughters. What a legacy your family has. And I know your sister, I know so many within your family, because you're not the only child.
No, my sister was also involved with Job's Daughters, both as a member when she was a teenager, and as an adult, being a guardian of a chapter. And her daughter was active with it as well. Something we've enjoyed together for years and years.
How fun. Okay, you guys, we don't have many pictures, but I am going to share at least something here. Kathy helped me with my book that is currently not really available yet, will be at some point in time, through, I'm hoping to go Amazon. But I really appreciated that, because, without her help, I may be talented in certain areas, but guys, the honest disclosure is that I was in the bottom 10% in spelling. And yet I was the school editor-in-chief of the newspaper. Go figure. I just recruited really good. I knew the best proofreaders. I went to the English department and asked, right?
And we didn't even have computers to do it for us.
No. So anyway, I want to thank you for that, because I know that she was so patient. I was like, okay, one more. We just one more time, please. And that one more was many more, as many of you already know how that works. Also, she went with my original chemo buddy, Martha, and I to Albuquerque, and so that she could learn what it is to be in a nonprofit. I'm going to move one of these down for a second here. And that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? We really had a blast doing that. The Three Musketeer type of thing, wearing our little, shirts. Find a Way to Win. That's one of our images at the Chemo Buddy store. And okay, now I found this blast from the past, and I'm going to share it. Yeah, this was when Kathy and I were all of nothing. This was in this. I'm not going to say when it was, but we were in our 20s, or I was in my very early 20s, and there she is. So yeah, evidence that we've known each other for a long time, been there for each other, and been through so much together. I wanted to recognize you as a service hero, because, Kathy, what you do in helping to give back in so many ways, it's inspiring. And for those of you that don't really know about Job's Daughters, let me explain something. It is an organization that really does help to bring out the in someone. And many of the, I will give a lot of credit to the ability for me to get on these Facebook Lives, really, to Job's Daughters, because of the fact that I've disclosed and I've talked about the fact that my mouth wasn't formed correctly when I was born, and I had years and years of all sorts of stuff, including speech therapy. Well, I was a shyer child. Go figure. I was.
As was I.
Yeah, exactly. We both were. I mean, that we were two peas in a pod, really. And what Job's Daughters did was give a safe place to be able to, in a structured environment, get up and speak. And you learned how to do agenda items. You learned how to give a report. You learned old actionable items, old business, new business, how to file a meeting and get it signed off. I mean, there was just so much, and how to tell a story, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So
the power that Job's Daughters gives to someone who might eventually be in a boardroom running a business meeting. It's a foundation for that kind of a future.
Right. And and both of us were in it. Well, she still is. I ended up leaving, but I was in it for many, many years. My formative, junior high, high school, and slightly past high school. I was in it very active. So I know I need to let you go, because you have another phone call that you need to take care of. Kathy, I want to thank you for taking the time and being today's service hero. So we're going to close out day number 76 of 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. And I am ever so honored to recognize my big sister, who actually, I forgot to mention, was my legal guardian for a little while too, and my first roommate when I was 16 years old, graduated from high school, and we moved into our first apartment together. So I want to thank you for everything you've done, Kathy. I want to thank
my pleasure. It's great to be with you today.
Thank you. And for those of you, as we end, I want to leave a service thought with you, and that is, the programs that are available out there for our youth, don't overlook them. And if they seem like they may be outdated and older, and maybe that's something that might not be cool, maybe take a second look, because our youth are, there's so many of them that are struggling. And if this program resonates with someone, look into it. If it doesn't, look into others, because our youth need us. Our youth need programs where they have strong mentors, where they learn good skills, where they have opportunities to find their very best. So I challenge you to go out there and find, look into them. And if you would like to know something about Job's Daughters, Kathy is not on Facebook, so that's why I wasn't able to tag her or anything. She's not on it. But I certainly,
plenty of our members are.
Yes, and plenty of members. Look them up, or if you have a question, message me. I'd be more than happy to direct you some ways to get some more information if it's something that might be of interest. Okay, well, Kathy, love you. Thank you for being the service hero that you are. And I'm going to say goodbye for today and see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.